Hey Nick, thanks for coming on, man.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me.
Um, let's start with where it all began. What made you want to start writing?
So my grandparents are both songwriters. They wrote a song for Frank Sinatra
Hmm.
way back in the day called "Here's to the Band." So I grew up in like a musical household, and music was kind of always pressed upon me. And so I knew exactly like what I wanted to do from a really early age. At like 5 years old, like I knew I wanted to at least be in the entertainment industry. And so I've just kind of been working towards that my whole life. Started out with like guitar lessons, got influenced by people like Michael Jackson, Blink 182, Eminem, an eclectic group of music. Like I listen to everything. And I've just been like gradually working towards the point that I'm at now.
And was your mum a music teacher back in New Jersey? Because you started out in New
Um,
Jersey, right?
yeah, my grandmother actually is a
Oh,
music teacher
really?
in New Jersey. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So they were like, really adamant about making me take lessons and learning like the theory of music and scales on guitars and stuff like that. And I'm happy that I did it because, punk rock is not that hard to play. And so I was like the most skilled like punk rock guitar player like around because I had all this practice and like real music knowledge.
Yeah.
So yeah, all that stuff like really helped me to the point that I'm at today.
And what was the move like? Because you moved from New Jersey to Los Angeles. What was that like?
Yeah, man, it was pretty rough to be honest with you.
Yeah.
They're very different cultures, very different places. East Coast is much harder and colder than the West Coast is, so it was kind of like it was a breeze for me to go from New Jersey to California. But I actually went from California back to New Jersey at one point, and that was like really difficult because I had become accustomed to California lifestyle. And then I had to like get thrown into the snow with a bunch of people who were not so nice. And there was no sunshine. So they're very different places.
You're over there in your board shorts and singlets, and it's just
Literally.
snowing. Everyone's looking at you
Yeah.
like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
Exactly.
What were the schools like? Like the difference between the schools?
Man, nothing against like East Coast schools, but they're just very dark. Like the hallways they're darkly lit. Like the weather is terrible. I have like seasonal affectional disorder, so like I actually like thrive off the sun. I really need to be around like bright light and stuff like that. So for me, like the depression was real when I was in New Jersey, which is part of the reason why I got up and got out of there and went back to California because I just literally couldn't live in that weather. And the school system is just much different. It's just a lot more. What's the word I'm looking? It's just harder, man. Like that's
Mm.
the word I'd use. It's just harder.
And I did hear in another interview that your mum wanted to be an actor, and that's why you ended up
Yeah.
in LA.
Yeah, so that's why we originally moved from New Jersey to Los Angeles. Is my
Hmm.
mom wanted to be an actress, and she had some like mild success. Like she was on like Married with Children and a few like like TV shows and stuff, but never really broke through. So, but she was like very adamant about it, and she worked really hard at it. So that's kind of what I grew up seeing was like her, in the entertainment industry and working hard. She would work on sets as like an extra just to support us and stuff. So for me, it was always like kind of motivating and inspiring to see her put that much into it.
And that's kind of how you motivated yourself to end up on Platinum Hit.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, she was a big part of that. She got the email for the open call audition at Musicians Institute here in Hollywood, California, and she was like, I really think you do well on this. You should go on it. And my life was kind of like in disarray at the time. I wasn't really focused on music. I was a lot more focused on getting high and partying with my friends and stuff. So when I got on that show, it really helped center me and kind of ground me and let me know that this is what I wanted to do with my life as an adult.
And you didn't win that, right? You only came fourth.
I didn't, man, and it's still a travesty. Yeah, I came in fourth, and they offered me a record deal with RCA Jive right after,
Mhm.
and then right after the TV show kind of failed, it didn't do so well in America. The RCA Jive crumbled, and so I was just left with this TV show credit and not that much, help in the music industry. I kind of had to do it myself.
What would you have done with the prize money?
At the time, I probably would have smoked it away. I smoked a lot of weed at the time. I probably would have smoked it gone. Some of that money might have been invested back into my music career, but I'm actually happy I didn't get that money at age 23. It was not the time for me to have that $100,000, man.
Do you think that's the reason why you became more hungry for success, because you didn't win?
Yeah, 100%. And the success of the TV show, like it wasn't on an American Idol level of success. Like it didn't really go worldwide where everybody knew about it. So that helped drive me to want to get to a level where I did have, a huge fan base and I was getting recognized worldwide. So I think if the TV show was a hit, I probably would have rested on my laurels a little bit and probably been a lot more unmotivated to really push for success if it was just handed to me. So,
because it was hard enough for me to find any episodes, let alone one, like I had to go deep.
Yeah, man.
You did have a little, I don't want to say meltdown, but you didn't agree with what the judges were saying at one point on the show.
Yeah. I mean, I came into the show like thinking I was going to be the bad boy just so I could kind of gain the most like camera time and attention. But then a lot of the stuff that you're seeing on that show is real. Like they really pissed me off. And I really, a lot of the arguments that I got with Jewel and the judges and stuff, they were real, so I was being unfairly treated. I feel like unfairly judged. And, I was a 23-year-old arrogant, like pop punk kid. So I was just like, giving it to him.
Would you ever start your own platinum hit? Like something similar?
Yeah, man, it's a really good idea. I just think that platinum hit was before its time. And I think that the world is still not ready to recognize songwriters, even now. Like they've tried it a couple of different ways. There was that NBC show called Songland, and that didn't really do well either. I don't think that people really want to recognize the fact that some of their favorite artists have people like me behind the scenes that are writing their lyrics and kind of creating their persona. I think it really takes away from the fans, interest in the artist if they realize like, oh, French Montana really didn't say this. It was this guy. And Snoop Dogg doesn't really think this. It was this guy. So I think they're going to try to keep it as hidden as possible for as long as it works.
What is the creative process behind a ghostwriter?
I mean, for me personally, I would never sell another artist something that I wouldn't keep for myself. Mm-hmm. So at the end of the day, I'm really just writing a song for me with that artist in mind. Maybe I'll switch up a few words or kind of change the swagger of something that kind of suits them more and fits them more. But at the end of the day, it's really just songwriting. And then somebody's buying that song from you. You know what I mean?
And how do you know what ones to keep and what ones to sell?
It's an everyday struggle, man. It really depends on when the rent is due. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, it's like, if I'm trying to, make money, that's really the main goal. It's not really about whether I should keep it for myself or give it to somebody else. That's why I try to write stuff that I would keep and I would give away because it's also on the same platform. You know what I mean?
And do you get any points for that? Royalty points?
Yeah. I mean, there's been a lot of situations where I've gotten just a flat out rate, and usually that flat out rate is a lot more than if I'm getting points on the record or credit on the record, etc. There's some artists who really do not want people to know that people like me are writing for them, so they'll pay a lot more to kind of keep my mouth shut. I'll have to sign a non-disclosure agreement, which I've signed an amalgamation of. But yeah, like for the most part, people are, they'll pay you a rate and then you will get some credit on the record.
Look, I don't want to step on anyone's toes, but if you could leak those NDAs, would everyone be shocked on, who you...
100%. Some of the situations I've never even spoken about just out of respect to the artist. But yeah, I've signed a ton of those NDAs, man, where it's like, people would be shocked and it would cause like a bit of a media frenzy.
How do you get in the mindset for writing for Snoop Dogg? Like, is it something you've written before and then you send it to him and he likes it?
Yeah. So the first song that I wrote, quote unquote, for Snoop Dogg was not for Snoop Dogg.
Oh.
And my business partner at the time sent it off to his people. And he liked what I did so much that he took everything I said verbatim with the lyrics and melody and did it himself. And I actually walked into the studio and my partner showed me the record. He's like, hey, I got something to show you before you leave. And I was like, what's that? And he just clicked the space bar, man. And it was Snoop Dogg singing back my lyrics and melody. I was like, wait, what the fuck? So it was a compliment, big compliment from Snoop.
Have you ever met him personally?
Yeah.
Yeah. Does he smoke up like everyone says he does?
Yes, he does.
Yeah.
that part of it is real.
How high did you get?
I mean, I'm sober, but when I was working with Snoop, I was like a full-blown pothead. So we got along very nicely.
What was the reason to go sober?
To be perfectly honest with you, it wasn't even by choice. I just had, I think there's like a theory that if you smoke for so long, eventually it just doesn't get you high anymore. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of what happened to me. I mean, part of it was like the pandemic and shit. And I'm a bit of a conspiracy theorist. So I was like kind of wigging out about the government and stuff. And I was like, pot is only elevating this for me. I really don't think I should do any more of this. And it just started giving me anxiety and just stopped working for me. My tolerance went down and, you know, it saves a bunch of money not smoking. So I'm all about it.
What's your biggest conspiracy?
I've been known to talk about reptilian aliens that are under human skin, controlling the government at high levels. And so that's probably the most far out one that I will. Yeah,
I can see that. At some point, it's like coming from Australia and seeing the American view on things. I can see that. Like,
yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, a conspiracy is just 5 or more people, you know, working towards some sort of an agenda. So conspiracies happen every day. So for me, aliens and UFOs and life on other planets, for me, it just sounds so ridiculous to think that there's not life on other planets, that there's not intelligent life on other planets, and that some of those life forms might have traveled to Earth now and in distant past, and different pasts. So it's like, I think it's very plausible.
Because your government dropped a bunch of videos, so it's all out there. It's all leaked.
Yeah,
like, you know,
that's the other thing. It's like the government is now a part of the conspiracy, and they've become conspiracy theorists. I love that they did that too, because there's a lot of people that I've been, you know, grabbing their ear for years and trying to get my point across, and now it's like, well, aliens are real. We know that's a fact. Whether they've been here and they're controlling, you know, things like puppeteers from behind the scenes, that's a whole nother conversation. But I would be more open to it if I were you. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, yeah. Well, the footage doesn't lie. Oh, well, it can, but you know, it seems pretty legit to me.
Totally.
Yeah. Would you have any advice for anyone who wanted to start writing and or quote unquote ghost writing?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I beat myself up for years about my writing and my production skills. And I think that that's healthy only to a certain degree, because it definitely shaped me being so hard on myself. But I feel like it also prevented me from just kind of doing me. And so my advice to people would be write the music that you like and that you really are comfortable with, that really makes you happy at the end of the day, that you want to go listen to back on the headphones or your iPod at the end of the night. Instead of making music for other people or trying to fit in with what's happening right now. If you chase the radio, you're never going to get there, because it's always changing. And a lot of the stuff that is really circulating to the top of the charts is stuff that is so out there and so different than all the other stuff that we've heard. And the only way somebody would have gotten there is by being different and being original.
Well said, because, you know, I don't know if you've heard of the Kid Laroi. He's an Australian rapper.
Yeah.
He's got a
song with Bieber right now.
Yeah. It's blowing up over here as well. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, he came from a small quote unquote ghetto town over here in Australia. Oh, wow. Yeah. So it's great to see him succeeding over there, especially because.
How old is that kid? Do you know how old he is?
I want to say around the 18-ish mark.
Wow, crazy.
Off the top of my head, I don't know. Last I heard an interview with him, he was like 16, 17.
Wow, I didn't know he was that young.
So yeah, because you guys are pretty harsh on us over here. Like you
Are
don't,
we?
yeah, you don't vibe with our music. It's crazy.
Really?
Yeah, the Kid Leroy is an exception, I guess, because he kind of changes his tone and accent.
Give me a few artists. Like, what is your guys' quote unquote music? I'm not really familiar.
Have you heard of Hilltop Hoods?
Nope.
Listen, Essa?
No.
Cursor?
No.
Nah. Well, they are I want to say 3 key players over here.
Wow,
just off the top of my head. So yeah, it's the accents.
Must be hating.
Yeah,
we must be hating over here because I never heard none of those people.
When you're not writing and producing and all that other stuff, what are you doing? What's your day to day?
I'm fucking my bitch. No, I'm just kidding.
That was just like didn't even hesitate.
You can edit that out. I'm living life, man. Like for the most part, I'm either networking and trying to get my music, in different places, whether it's Spotify, iTunes, Instagram, Facebook, etc. So I'm usually between emails with people, but a lot of my time is spent producing music and mixing and mastering it professionally. And the mixing and mastering is like fairly new for me to like really get into professionally. So that's like my latest triumph is just kind of really, sinking my teeth deep into that, which is very time consuming. And then a little bit of time is spent online researching conspiracy theories and seeing what the government's up to. But yeah, just living life, man. I just got back from a vacation with my fiance. We went to Palm Springs, just kind of living life, enjoying the sun.
Shit, I was going to follow up with something. Yeah, your Warner Music, is that just distribution or is that
It's a publishing / record deal that I signed in 2017. So I'm signed to a boutique publishing company called Bump Into Genius Music, and they're administered by Warner Chappell Music Publishing. So it's kind of like a joint deal. I kind of have like 2 different publishers, which is cool because I get to send my music to 2 different people and 2 different places are kind of pumping it. But yeah, I signed that in 2017 and I'm still signed to them now.
Were you self-releasing before then?
As far as my own music, I wasn't releasing anything. No. So once I got signed to Warner, it was like my opportunity to really go for the artist thing. And, I had money in the bank from producing and songwriting for all these other people. So I've kind of funneled a little bit of that back into my artist career and just kind of helped pump that up a little bit.
Because going back through, your history and all that, you seem to just be popping up everywhere. Is that just a promotional thing for you? Like you're popping up on podcasts, videos, you're everywhere.
Yeah, man. I mean, a lot of my own business is run by me. So like, even though I'm managed and I'm published and I've signed a record deal, it really didn't change much for me. I've always been a one-man show. I live in my emails. I'm always constantly connecting with people like yourself and trying to promote my own project. And that's one of the reasons why I've had so much success over the years is because publishers and record labels will take an interest into somebody that they don't really have to work too much for. You know what I mean?
They just make money on the back end and let you go do you. Yeah.
Snakes.
Yeah, record labels dream.
The dogs they are. Yeah, exactly.
Would you ever self-release? Do you find are they controlling it all?
No, I mean, the cool thing about signing to a boutique publishing company like Bump Into Genius is I had a lot of artistic and creative say over the style of music that I was going to do when I was going to release some of my music. They really, honestly, they just kind of dictate when I will release something and kind of let me know like what the best like results were if we're going to release it at a certain time. For the most part, I've got pretty much creative freedom, and I kind of let them know when I'd like to release something, and they just let me know when it's possible. So,
out of your whole discography, what's your favorite song?
This last one that I just put out, it's called Place for Us. It's about a struggle between trying to figure out where we go after death. It's about heaven and hell and kind of like the afterlife and where our souls go after we leave this life. And a lot of the lyrics in that song are me just kind of asking those questions as the curious person that I am, especially on this topic. So I love that song. I love the music video for it. I'm extremely proud of the production and the way it came out. And I think that it serves a good message. I mean, if you're like diehard Christian, you'll probably not like it as much. But it's just kind of like an open conversation.
You say music video. I did hear in another interview that you and your now fiance do it all, or like your fiance does it.
Yeah,
music videos. Yeah,
we do. Yeah, so I basically had the option of like paying somebody like $5,000 to $10,000 to shoot one music video and pray to the heavens that they got my vision and they got my style and the way I wanted, or I could just buy a camera and shoot a couple of not so cool videos in the beginning and then kind of elevate to the point that I'm at now. So if you look at my first video from 2 years ago, which I directed, I edited, and I put out, it looks nothing like the videos I'm putting out now, which look like very professional. And so, you know, a lot of people thought this idea was really crazy. And now they just look like assholes because my videos look great. And now I don't have to pay anybody to do it. And we also have the creative control over that to just shoot something whenever we want. I learned a lot about, you know, camera work and editing and effects. And that's one of the things I'm most proud of in my artist career.
Would you ever let someone else write for you?
They would have to have a lot of Grammys and a lot, I mean, you know, because I mean, I'm friends with a lot of these guys, and like at the end of the day, they know, just as I know, like nobody's going to be able to really tell your story the way you want to tell it. So that's one of the things that I work on when I do work with artists nowadays is I'm like, tell me your truth. Like, let me know what is the message you want to get across, because I don't want to just come up with some fake, like, you know, complacent lyrics that are just not really true to your life, you know, and just write some average love song. I want you to tell your truth. And if I can help you do that, then my job is done. So for me, like, you know, I've lived a very different life. For people to try to write for me, I feel like it would be next to impossible.
Did you ever get bullied being biracial? Because you're part Italian, aren't you?
Yeah, I am. I'm Italian and Trinidad, and yes, I did. Very much so. I got bullied like all throughout middle school and high school, and you know, being mixed really didn't become cool until like the past, like I want to say 8-9 years. Man, it's been a rough ride for us mixed kids.
You could kind of fall in the same boat as Logic then, except I think you're more like.
Logic looks white. Okay.
I was going to say I might be outspoken here, but you're a little darker than Logic, so I think you can kind of get away with it.
Just a shade or two.
Have you ever tried Vegemite?
Yes, I have. And
really?
An Australian songwriter and her mom brought it for me from Australia, and they were like, "You have to try this. This is like what we live on out here." One thing I'll say about Australians are they're some of the nicest, kindest, warmest, most welcoming and inviting people I've ever met, which makes me want to travel to Australia so badly, because I just feel like I've met like a lot of different Australians in my life, a lot of them through the songwriting and production community, and they're just a treat. They're just a delight. So, they brought this Vegemite for me, and it was absolutely disgusting. I absolutely hated it. I almost threw up in the studio, and I just kind of, you know, swallowed it and chuckled and was like, yeah, this is great. Thanks so much.
Take that jar of death with you.
Yeah, I don't understand it.
Did you like? How did they serve it to you? Did they just like give you a spoonful and like? Here,
it was a tube. It was a yellow tube of this stuff, and they were just like, just take a finger's worth and just try it. And they're like, and then once I didn't like it, they're like, you have to have it with a toast. That's the way to have it. And I was like, bitch, why didn't you bring me some toast?
Yeah, man, they did you dirty. Like, you got to put butter, toast. Like, there's a whole process behind it. You can't just eat it straight, man. Oh,
okay.
I don't even eat it straight.
Oh, so, but it is like a huge thing in Australia.
It's pretty big, yeah. We sell jars.
Wow.
We move jars.
We move jars.
Yeah, we move jars like you guys move like drugs and stuff over there. Like the cartel moves coke.
That's funny. And does it go on anything else other than toast, or what's the deal?
I've had people say that they put it on fruit toast,
Mm.
which to me sounds disgusting.
Right.
But people put it in their rums, so they warm up rum and then they put it in there. Yeah, you can do a few things with it.
Crazy.
What's your favorite food, man?
I'm Italian, man. So you give me some good spaghetti and meatballs, and I'm a happy camper. One of my favorite dishes is penne alla vodka. I don't know if you're familiar with that, like the pink sauce, the pink Italian sauce.
Oh, yep.
Absolutely delicious, man. I love that stuff. Throw some shrimp and some chicken on that, and I'm out for the night.
If you could have one thing from Australia, what would it be?
It definitely wouldn't be Vegemite. I would take some of the women because they're absolutely gorgeous. Some of the most prettiest blonde hair, blue-eyed women I've ever seen in my life come from, I'm happy my fiance's out of the room right now. They come from Australia. And I'd say the people, man, they're so, like I said, so warm, so inviting, easy to talk to.
Do you find them that different? Because I've been over there. I've been to LA, and I felt like you guys were super nice over there as well. And that we're rude here, but I think that's just everybody. Like,
yeah, no, we're just pretending until you get back on that plane, man. We're vile creatures over here.
Just looking for those tips.
Yeah, literally. No, I do. I think they're very different. I think there's something either in your guys' water or your upbringing that makes you guys very different, a lot kinder, a lot warmer. And like I said, I'm excited to travel out there to meet more of your people.
What can we expect from you in the future?
I have an upcoming album that will drop at the end of this month or the beginning of next month called Self Untitled. Mm-hmm. It's going to be like 20 songs, a lot of which have not been released before. There's some hardcore hip hop songs on there. There's some like light pop songs. It's a big amalgamation of music. I'm excited to release that. And then a new music video is going to drop in 2 days from now. So I have a new music video edited and ready to go. And just a lot more consistency, man, like podcasts, interviews, more singles, more albums, more music videos, etc.
Do you feel like the podcasts have helped you? Because I've been telling my music friends to get on podcasts because one, I do it and I need more people to come on. And two, I think it helps promote themselves. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, like, you don't get this from a music video or a single. Like, that's one of the reasons why I wanted to jump on and just start talking to people, because I feel like there's a completely different aspect to my artistry just by me hopping on and talking and you getting to know the guy. And, you know, maybe I'll say some funny stuff or I'll be charismatic, and that will interest somebody to come and check my music out. And I also like helping promote other people like yourself who are just doing it themselves in a bedroom or a studio or something. I admire that. So I feel like it's kind of like a win-win.
Yeah. Your Bone Thugs and Harmony project. Can you speak on that? Or is it still?
Yeah, that's still in the works. But one thing I will say is, like, when I first came into doing the artist project, I was really adamant about every song being a Nick Nittoli song, and I wasn't really doing any features. But I'm changing that because of the volume of people that have reached out to me to say that they want me on their track, etc. So I will be doing a ton of features, and yeah, Bone Thugs and Harmony will be one of those upcoming. So.
More features. Your discography is huge so far. You've only been releasing since 2019, and you know, I could just scroll for days on Spotify. Yep. Like, what was the process behind that? You just had them all lined up and you just threw them out the door?
Yeah, I mean, I work hard at what I do. I love what I do, and so that's kind of what you're seeing is the essence of that kind of bleeding through Spotify and iTunes. It's like I love making music, and you know, it's not like a competition against other artists, but I'm like, I probably have released the most songs of 2020 and so far 2021 than any artist that I've ever listened to, for sure. So for me, it's like, you know, I love what I'm doing, and I'm just being really consistent at it. And that's not going away anytime soon. The other thing is I produce and I write my own music, so I don't really have to wait for a mix and wait for a production or wait for someone to write my lyrics. I'm doing it all myself.
What was it like stepping into a mixing booth for the first time? Because they're intense. Like, when you look at them, they're just...
Yeah, I mean, mixing and mastering music is a completely different side of music. Like production and writing aside, mixing is probably the hardest thing to do in the music industry. And you really have to have the ears for it. You also have to have the equipment for it. So, acquiring all of this different analog gear and stuff that I'm using now, that was like a big hurdle. And just kind of learning from experience and learning from a lot of bad mixes. And it's been a ride. It's been a journey. I mean, listen, producing music and learning how to write and learning how to produce was one of my favorite times of my life. You know, now that I'm at where I'm at, it's just like a breeze. Like I really know what I'm doing. It's not a challenge anymore. So this was like a new challenge in my 30s that I was like, oh shit, we're going back on that ride again of learning and knowledge. So it's been fun and challenging.
What's your favorite DAW? Like, what do you work in?
I use Pro Tools for everything now. I started on Logic X, but once you become a mixer, all those stems, they end up in Pro Tools because that's usually what people mix in. So I was like, fuck that. I'll just produce and write in Pro Tools. Skip that shit.
Yeah, cut the process in half. Hypothetically, if the winner from Platinum Hits came to you and said, would you feature on a track? Would you? Or are you still salty?
Not.
Yeah,
absolutely not. Yeah, that was one part of the reality show that was reality. Yeah. I did not get along with the winner. We traded words. She ripped one of my Michael Jackson posters in my room. I'm still salty about it. That's a no. For me, it's like, I'm really, I'm a big competitive person. So I was like, all right, now the cameras are off. Let's find out how you guys do in the real competition of life, which is now, where there's nobody who's going to give you a helping hand and kind of wipe your ass. And let's see how everybody fares. And so far, I'm the only one who's worked with mainstream artists. I'm the only one who's been signed to a record deal and a publishing deal. I have the most Spotify plays. I have the most views on YouTube. So for me, it's like, let's just keep this competition going.
Yeah, well, it doesn't help that the label that brought them on crashed and burned.
That's facts. Yeah. Big fact.
So it's kind of a good thing you didn't get put on?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, hindsight is 2020. Looking back now, I'm like, this is all meant to be. This is why this is why I'm in the position that I'm in now. I probably wouldn't have even learned how to produce had they, they put me in the studio with like Matt Squire, who produced Panic at the Disco and like Fall Out Boy. And they were like thinking they were going to do this whole pop punk thing. And for me, it's like, I wouldn't have learned how to produce, mix, master, and write the way I have if they kind of handed me everything. So I'm grateful, man.
You have anything to say to your ever-growing fan base?
Check out this new album, Self-Untitled. I should be posting on my Instagram and Facebook and Twitter the release date in the next couple of weeks. I'm just waiting for Warner to get back to me on a solidified date. And look out for this upcoming music video for my single Heartless. It should be out in the next couple of days. And thank you guys for following me, and I appreciate every step of the way.
And to anyone who isn't following you, what do you have to say to them?
Y'all niggas need to follow me. What are you doing? What are you doing? It's at Nick Nittoli. Big thanks to you, man, for having me on. This is awesome.
No, man, you're welcome. I really appreciate you reaching out and wanting to jump on. It's not every day that people, because I find it hard to get people on because no one wants to, one, be recorded, and two, be, everyone hates their voice, but given you're a rapper, it kind of.
Yeah. Oh, I love my voice. I love seeing my face all day. I'm a narcissist all day long. So
when's the billboards? When are you going to put your face up on billboards?
Yeah, man. I actually just hit iTunes top 40 iTunes charts in 3 different genres. I hit in metal and R&B and in hip hop. So I'm thinking that billboards are probably the next step, a little bit along the way, but those should be coming out soon.
That reminded me, your country album.
Yeah.
Why? Like I'm not dissing it. I'm just saying. Like, what was the process behind that?
Listen, as a listener, as a fan, when I was a kid, I always wanted artists to like really switch up their genre and really do something unique and different. and they never really did. Like the farthest Eminem went was like Sing for the Moment, where he brought in Aerosmith to sing the hook, and there was never really like, you know, an Eminem country album or an Eminem pop album. And so I understand for like brand and marketing that why they didn't do that, but I'm trying to change that in the music industry. So that's one of my goals, is to break barriers and break these boxes and chains that we're kind of living in, where we're like, oh, we can't do that. And, you know, Cardi B can't come out with a country album. I'm like, fuck that. If Cardi B can sing some country, I want to hear it. So for me as a fan, I wanted to do something for the 14-year-old Nick Nittoli, and hopefully there's somebody out there that's like me right now that really appreciates that and thinks it's different, and kind of open up the lanes for people so that they can do that too. If they, you know, I love country music, I love pop music, I also love hip hop music. That doesn't really make me soft. Do you see what I'm saying? So like that's kind of the barrier that I'm trying to break, and the boxes that I'm trying to break, and create this new pathway for artists to where they can just do what they feel.
What was the creative process like? Did you go into the country to get your inspiration, or was it all just...
No, I didn't. I listened to a lot of country music. I love country music already, so that wasn't really a stretch for me. Trying to get my voice and my vocals to like really sound like a country artist was a bit of a stretch. But I mean, the end result to me is amazing. I love it. I'm really proud of it. And I'll tell you right now, it's not going to be the last country album. I will do another one.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
PlayStation or Xbox, man?
Xbox all day.
Oh, get out of here.
Yeah.
Netflix or Disney Plus?
Fuck. I'll go with Disney Plus, actually.
Yeah. What are you watching now?
Right now, I mean, I'm a huge American Dad fan, so I'm actually on Hulu all day watching American Dad. But I just finished the new Space Jam movie, which was trash. If you haven't seen it, don't. Just terrible, man. I hated it. What am I watching though? I'm back to Hulu, man. Dave, his new show, Lil Dicky's show, Dave. I've been watching that like crazy. I love that because it's really something I can relate to as a songwriter and an artist.
Is the Space Jam movie out?
Yeah, it's out on HBO Max today.
Oh, okay.
It just came out.
I was going to say, because it's not here.
Yeah, it's horrible. Don't watch it.
Nick Nittoli, thanks for coming on, man.
Yeah, man. Like I said, thanks for having me, man. This was awesome.